just had recently started this new job, and I really wanted to work for this company. It's a big, big company. Um, and I applied as a seasonal employee, but I worked full-time hours. I worked 40 hours in 4 days, so I worked 10-hour shifts. And so when I had got the news that my grandma was not doing well and she was unresponsive, and the nurse said she had 48 hours to live, I immediately tried to put in it's called a case. You open a case to take a personal leave, and you have to select which personal leave you need. Like, the one I chose at first was the injured family member, injured, sick, and you need to, they need aid. So I tried to select that one, and you have to select a certain amount of days, and I believe, I don't know, I can't remember the dates I selected, but I needed a good amount of time off because the funeral was out of state. So I believe I selected 14 days, which the minimum is 15. The minimum is 15. So somehow I submitted it. It was denied. So I panicked. Like, it was denied pretty fast. So I panicked and then tried to do another one really quick, and it was denied as well. So I wasn't for sure what was going on. So I panicked all night. In the morning, my mom was already planning to leave. As soon as I got the news, she was planning to leave the next morning at like 4 a.m. to get to where she needed to be. And I wanted to go with her, but I worked the next day at 6 p.m. So I didn't know if I was going to be off or not. I didn't know. At this point, I was so stressed. I took, I believe it was 5 hours paid time off on Friday because I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to get off and go see my grandma. So I go to sleep, and the next day I wake up and I call right when the HR opens, and I say, why was my case denied? Like, my grandma's not doing well. I need to go up and see her with my mom, but I can't. My mom's already left, and I have to sit here and call y'all and see why I can't go see my grandma because I have work, and y'all denied both of my cases. And he said, okay, well, the first case was denied because you didn't put 15 days. 15 days is the minimum to take off for, I guess, a personal leave or whatever. I don't know. That's their policy. So he said, no problem, ma'am. I understand. He made me feel a lot better. Like, we're going to handle it. We'll get this fixed. Let me escalate this, and we'll get this solved. So he put 15 days, blah, blah. I felt a lot better. I mean, an hour later, I get the email that it's denied again. So I call again, get somebody else, and they say, oh, she said, I forgot. She's like, oh, it's because you don't have documentation. So when you upload a case saying that you're opening a case and you want to take time off for a sick family member, you have to have documentation, I guess. But my grandma was literally, I hate to say that, but she was not doing well at the time. So how am I supposed to get paperwork, documentation when my grandma's dying? Can anybody explain that? And I even explained that to the HR, and she's like, I understand, but this is our policy, blah, blah, blah. So I'm fighting about them with the documentation back and forth. I called several times. At this point, I'm talking to my mom. She's still on her way. She's almost there. But I'm like, Mom, when you get to the hospital, can you get me some documentation? But of course, my mom's going there to see her mom. And so I just didn't bug my mom about that anymore. And I called myself to the hospital and was like, hey, I'm trying to get off on my job so I can come down and see my grandma. And I was like, her name's this. And the nurse was like, oh, I know exactly who you're talking about. Let me see what I can do. Get with the director or whoever. I don't even know. I can't, at this point, I can't even remember. But she was going to try to get a letter written up and sent to my HR. But unfortunately, she said that was going to take a while. So it wasn't going to be in time for me to get down there in time. So, and this is about mid-Friday. So, and I work at 6 p.m. So I'm like frantically fighting, trying to get off so I can get approved to go see my grandma because I need to start driving. It's a far drive. The nurse calls my HR She's like, let me call them and see if I can verify for you to come down. So the actual nurse from an out-of-state hospital called my HR team that I worked for, my job, and asked, please, can she come and see her grandma? She's not doing well. She's not going to make it that much longer. She needs to get down here as soon as possible. And she verified my social security, she verified my employee number, and she also verified my start date, my employee start date with them. And I was like, she was calling me back and forth while she was on the phone with them and say, hey, like, I need this. And then she had got my hopes up, the nurse, not on purpose, but she said, hey, start packing. Like, she was hoping that I was going to be able to take off and go see my grandma. But by the end of the phone conversation, they pretty much told her, no, we're going to need documentation for our file. So all that, the time, the hour and a half spent on the phone, the nurse going back and forth, she didn't even have to do that. She was just trying to be nice. Like, my gosh, she was such a nice lady. Pretty much needed documentation, so panic mode. Thank God I took the paid time off. Remember, I took 5 hours paid time off, so I just needed some time to think of what I was going to do. So that 5 hours goes by. There's nothing much more else I can do but go into work crying to my manager, like, hello. And at this point, I was taking a nap during my paid time off hours before I went into work, because who knows if I was even going to be able to get off or have to work. Like, I have no idea with this company, but, and it's a sad situation. But anyways, so I wake up to a text saying that my grandma had passed away, and this was around 7, and I was supposed to go into work at 11. So I wake up in a panic. Like, I just, like, wake up, tell my boyfriend, and then I just immediately head to work, because there's nothing else I could do. I can't even think. I didn't even text my mom back. I didn't even know what to say. I just was panicked. So I drove to my work crying, go to my manager and let him know, show him the text, literally show him the picture of my grandma that wasn't doing well on the hospital bed. The good thing is, though, is that my mom made it up there in time. Everybody, all her kids, all 4 of her kids made it up there in time to say goodbye to her, and then she passed away. So my mom was saying that she waited for all her kids to get up there, so too bad I couldn't make it because my dumbass job, because of this job. But so my manager's like, oh, no worries. His name was Cody. He was like, no worries, we got this. I'm going to go tell Jaime, we're going to get this taken care of. We'll put it in the system. We'll do everything you need to do. Like, we'll handle this. Don't worry. You go take care of your family needs. Like, and I told him I was out of state. I'm going to be off the whole week. I work all the way until Tuesday, pretty much, Tuesday morning. I work overnight, so he was like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, it's in Oklahoma. I'm going to need to drive. I'm driving up there by myself. I was supposed to go with my mom, but since I couldn't get off, I kept getting denied from HR because I had no documentation, which I'm not sure how I'm supposed to get documentation while your grandma's dying in the hospital. Not sure, but okay. So after that, he lets me leave. He's like, I'll take care of it, no worries. So at that point, I'm like, okay, good. I'm not even going to worry about this. I'm going to do what I have to do. I went to bed, got up at 4 a.m., picked up my sister, and we drove to Oklahoma. So we're handling all this. We have the viewing, and then the next day is the funeral. And so in the morning of the funeral, my job calls me, and I'm like, no way, like, I have a funeral today. I'm getting ready for the funeral as we speak, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I answer. I'm a little mad. I'm like, yes, like, why are you calling me, ma'am? I have a funeral to go to today. Like, I've already told y'all. My manager said he would take care of it. Like, I don't understand why y'all are, like, calling me on my time off, especially during a family death. Like, what? I'm so confused. So after that, I just hung up with the lady because she was just nonstop, like, well, I don't even know. I can't remember. So I just hung up. So I'm at the funeral. We're recording, right? We had the little ceremony. They're talking about my grandma. We played the music. Everybody's being silent, but I'm recording, right? Sad to say, but someone didn't turn off their cell phone in the back. I don't know who it was because I didn't want to look, but my aunt sure did turn around and give them a dirty look. Whoever it was, I don't know, but they immediately turned the cell phone off, so it was ringing during the ceremony at the funeral. So I immediately go, oh crap, I'm filming, and I'm like, is my phone silent? So I immediately click silent while I'm filming. I have a live video going. I guarantee you not 2 minutes later, my job calls again. During the funeral, they call again. I lose it. I instantly deny it. It ruined my video. I was filming, literally filming. They called, I ignored it, and it stopped filming. So I had to restart. I was so livid. So at this point, I blocked their number. Because I'm like, no, this is not. You're not about to be. I'm supposed to be having a 15-day bereavement leave. But no. So anyways, so after that, when I get back, after the funeral, I get back home, and they're sending me emails saying that I missed 3 shifts or something like that, and I'm like, what? Like, how? My manager was supposed to take care of this. So I call HR, and it's a battle, you know, staying on the phone forever. You gotta tell someone. I tell the first guy my story, and he's like, oh my gosh, they treated you so wrong. Like, that's not right. Like, I'm on your side. Like, let me forward you to someone who can help you. So they forwards me to a lady, and then I tell the same story, and she's like, oh my gosh, that's really not right. I'm so sorry that it happened that way. Like, you shouldn't have gone through that. It's not right. And then so she sends me to somebody else, right? Third person. And this lady literally says, because you are a seasonal employee and you have no paid time off hours, because I had to use them because I was so scared I wasn't going to be able to take off. I should have just fucking left with my mom, but so she pretty much says, you're a seasonal employee, you have no paid time off hours, and if you're a seasonal employee and you don't like qualify for the bereavement leave policy, then you have to take attendance points or use paid time off. Well, I had no paid time off, so I had to use attendance points, right? Well, once you get a certain amount of attendance points, they terminate you. So they literally tried to terminate me because I went to an out-of-state funeral for my grandma, and their reasoning why I couldn't take a personal leave for a death in the family was because I was a seasonal employee. But I worked 40 hours a week. I worked 4 days, and over the weekend too. I even got paid $1 extra, but I could not believe that's what that was, the lady. So I couldn't believe it. That's what it was. Because I was a seasonal employee, I couldn't take off and have bereavement leave policy like every other employee because I was seasonal. But I'm still full-time, so I'm so confused on how a company can do that. And this is one of the biggest companies. It's like everyone uses this company. Everyone. Okay? I was so shocked. So they were sending me emails saying they were going to terminate me. So eventually I just had to resign because I'm not going to let a company fire me for something saying that I skipped shifts when I didn't. I had no idea why Cody didn't. I don't know what happened with Cody, but get this. The day I went to go turn in my badge, you bet I saw Cody sitting out there on break time. Oh, and I said, I'm resigning and I'm turning in my badge. And when I walked out, I walked past Cody, didn't say anything, but a lady had asked, she's like, why are you quitting? And I was like, girl, my grandma passed away. I had the proof, the obituary after she passed away, obviously. Not during, not before. I couldn't get the proof, and they were kept denying me, but afterwards, I still sent in the proof to prove to them that, like, here's the funeral paper. Like, what else do you need? I have the proof. I uploaded the documents to all the cases, everything I could. But still, since I'm a seasonal employee, the terminated email was already, not terminated, but the termination email was already sent saying that I missed too many shifts and I had like 5.5 attendance points or something like that, and at 6, you're done. So they were trying to fire me, and I was like, no. So I resigned, turned in my badge, told the manager, peace out, because he didn't even help me, and I just said, HR sucks, and I said, the company sucks. I like screamed it out loud in the parking lot, and I just left. That was it. So I literally lost my job because my grandma passed away. Like, that's crazy. I cannot believe it. And guess what? There's literally other, well, not videos. I haven't watched other videos, but there's plenty online of why they quit this job. But there's an article, actually, of a girl in California who actually got fired for going to a funeral, the same thing. and her employees actually petitioned for her. Like, that's so wrong. Like, why'd y'all do that to her? But anyways, I'm not for sure what happened. I just skimmed through the article because at that point I was just so mad. I had talked to HR so many times. Like, it just, all the times I talked to HR, no one told me it was because I was a seasonal employee until the very last call. My very last call. Yep. But after that, I did get someone call me and said, hey, we just want to talk about, you know, the case and blah, blah. And I said, I already resigned. And they were just like, oh, sorry about that. Click. So, that's my story. I did everything I could. I opened as many cases as I could. I did a personal. I even switched. When I first did the case, I did for the sick, injured family member. And then the next case I opened, because they immediately denied that, I tried for personal leave because I had no idea. I was like, what do I do here? Like, I need a bereavement leave. So if you ever get a new job, or if you have a job right now, go and review the bereavement policy. What is your leave? Are you allowed to leave for 3 days? Are you allowed to leave for how many days are you allowed to leave if you have a death in the family? Ask if you're a seasonal employee, a temporary employee, a full-time employee, or a part-time employee. I don't know, however they try to word it, but at my job, I'm just confused at how they can get around that. I mean, either way, you can't get around their policy, and it's just ridiculous. Billionaire company. Maybe it's a billionaire trillion. I don't freaking know. But, so they literally tried to fire me for missing shifts, but it was because my grandma had passed away, and I had let my manager know that I was going to be missing this whole week, you know? Like, it was just ridiculous, dude. The nurse even called, and they still denied it. What more do you need, you know? At some point, when is it personal leave and emergency personal leave? You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't have to provide documentation when you have a loved one who's literally on their deathbed. Like, I don't know 48 hours to live, and she's unresponsive, and they're still like, oh, we need documentation. When they called me at that funeral, I lost it. Oh my gosh, I was so upset. Blocked them immediately. What sucks is everybody uses this company, so it's probably happened to a bunch of people, honestly. But if you ever get a job, guys, please ask what the bereavement policy is. If a death is in the family, what is their policy? How many days can you take? And ask, like, does it matter what kind of employee you are, like temporary or however they want to word it, seasonal. So that's my story.